I stood in my office, staring out the window at the city skyline, my phone pushed against my ear as Olivia's voice came through, sharp and demanding. She asked me to fund the final amount for her baby shower, a lavish affair her mother, Diane, had insisted on hosting. I'm Michael Hayes, a senior financial consultant who's worked hard to build a successful career. But in my own home, I might as well be a stranger. Olivia's family, with their old money and entitled attitudes, never regarded me as one of them. To Diane, I was just the man who got lucky, someone who stumbled into their fortune by marrying her daughter. It didn't matter that I had been the one keeping Olivia afloat all these years, paying the bills, supporting her desires, making sure she never had to lift a finger. They still looked down on me like I was beneath them. Her voice pierced through. My thoughts again, forceful, almost wailing. Michael, it's just a few thousand. You know how important this is to me. Mom and Tessa would flip if it's not perfect. I could envision Diane's smug expression, her lips pursed as she reminded me of my place, and Tessa, Olivia's younger sister, chiming in with that condescending laugh of hers. I gritted my teeth, my fingers tightening around the phone. I wanted to say no, to tell her I was done being their personal ATM. But I knew what would happen if I refused. Diane would twist it into a sob story, how I didn't care about my own child, how I was selfish and ungrateful. Tessa would back her up. And Olivia? She would just sit there, letting them tear me apart as they always did. So I repressed the frustration swelling in my chest and whispered, "Fine, I'll handle it." She didn't even say thank you, just hung up with a brief, "Good. See you there." I laid the phone down and slumped back in my chair, rubbing my temples. The baby shower was tomorrow, and I had just agreed to shell out extra money for a party I didn't even want to attend. It wasn't about the baby, not really, it was about them. About showing off. About proving they were still the privileged family they thought they were. I'd seen the receipts stacking up, the venue, the catering, the decorations, all of it over the top, all of it unnecessary. And yet, here I was, footing the bill. Again. I thought about the years I'd spent trying to prove myself to them, working late hours to afford their lifestyle, letting them walk all over me because I loved Olivia. Or at least, I used to think I did. Now, I wasn't so sure. As I sat there, something shifted inside me. This wasn't just another favor. Another hit to my bank account. It felt different, heavier. I had been bending over backward for them for too long. And for what? To be treated like I didn't belong in my own household? I glanced at the stack of papers on my desk. Financial reports, budgeting plans I had been working on for months. I was good at my job, incredibly good, and I had built something for myself, despite their sneers. Maybe it was time they learned that. I picked up my phone again, not to call Olivia back, but to check my accounts. I skimmed through the figures, the savings I had hidden away, the investments I had kept quiet about. They didn't know half of what I had been doing, how much I had held back. The baby shower payment would go through. I'd honor my word. Yet as I stared at those numbers, a plan started to form in my mind. This wasn't going to be like the previous times. They believed they could keep pushing, me, keep taking, but they were wrong. I wasn't just the man who got lucky anymore. I was done playing their game. I'd pay the check, show up tomorrow, smile through their bullshit, but this would be the last time. They had no idea what was coming. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the desk, a strange sense of peace creeping over me. Let them have their celebration. Let them think they'd won, because after tomorrow, everything was going to change and they wouldn't even see it coming. Her voice was light, humorous, but it sliced into me like a dagger. I stared at her, my wife, the woman I'd built a life with, and saw nothing but delight in her eyes. No remorse, no apology. Just a game they'd all decided to play at my expense. tightened my jaw so hard my teeth ached, but I didn't utter a word. What could I say? Yelling would only make it worse, give them more fuel to twist the tale later. Horrible Michael, always so theatrical. So I pulled out the chair, the legs scraping against the floor, and sat down. The restroom door slid open behind me, a stench of bleach and cheap soap hitting my nose as another guy stepped out, staring at me with a mix of pity and uncertainty. The air freshener buzzed louder, like it was taunting me too. I folded my hands on the table, staring straight ahead, my mind racing. They thought this was amusing. Wow. They thought they could keep pushing me down, making me the joke. Great. Let them laugh. Let them believe they'd won this round. I watched as the party came into gear, waiters threading between the mob with plates of appetizers, shrimp, caviar, small pastries. I'd probably paid for them. Olivia flitted from table to table, lapping up the attention, while Diane barked orders at the waiters like she owned the place. Tessa started clicking shots, probably posting them online with captions about how ridiculous this all was. So, I stayed put. The hubbub of the room faded into a low hum as I focused on the check in my pocket. I'd hand it over soon. Play my role. But inside, something was building. A countdown. A ticking clock I could almost hear. This wasn't just about today. It was every slight, every jab. Every moment they'd made me feel small, piling up, until I couldn't ignore it anymore. I shifted in my seat, the hardwood cutting into my back, and let my eyes move across the room. Richard, Olivia's dad, sat at the main table, quiet as usual, his head down over a plate of food. He never said anything, never stepped in when Diane or the girls went too far. I used to assume he was simply weak, but now I wondered, was he as tired of this as I was? Didn't matter. He wouldn't assist me. No one here would. The laughter had died down, but I could still feel the stares, the whispers, the smug pleasure emanating from Olivia and her family. They believed they had me exactly where they wanted me, tied down, powerless. But they were wrong. I reached for the glass of water a waiter had finally dropped off, the ice clinking as I took a slow drink. Hands were still, my breathing even, but inside, I was on fire. This seat, this joke. It was the last straw, the final shove I needed. I set the drink down and leaned back, the restroom door bursting open behind me. Let them have their fun. Let them believe I'd take it like I always did, because in my mind, the countdown had already started. And when it hit 0, they'd see a side of me they never imagined. This wasn't over, not by a long shot.